Alright, thank you for watching my thoughts on a debate. I just had to refresh my memory by watching a little bit of it. I need to do these debate videos soon after I've watched the debate. It was between Gart and Kent Hovind. Gart went first and he started with a prayer. He denounced trying to view science through a biblical paradigm. Yeah, I disagree with that. Now, you shouldn't, lie about what scientific evidence is, but sometimes there's more than one way to get the same evidence, or the evidence points in more than one direction, or leaves more than one possibility open. He cited a book written in 1874, The History of Conflict in Science, that said that Christians must quit Christianity to be scientists. To Sai's credit, he denounces that position. He denounces that false dichotomy of you're a Christian or you're a scientist. You can't be both. Yeah, he's retired from doing something. And he spends his time now trying to help students decide that they can still be Christians and be scientists, because there are professors who will tell students you can't be a scientist and a Christian. Kent Hovind gave a good definition of science, pointed out that evolution has never been proven true. But the Bible, that's never been disproven in according to Kent, and there is some good evidence for the Bible. One thing Kent is wrong about is in Matthew, Jesus said the creation of Adam was the beginning. And talks like that means the beginning of everything. It's just the beginning of mankind or marriage that Jesus is talking about there. The word beginning does not have to be everything. Kent Hovind compared evolutionism and Christianity to oil and water. You really can't mix them. And he's got a good point there. Kent Hovind brought up the fact that there are symbiotic relationships, and those defy an evolution by an old Earth or the atheist creation story, because these plants will literally die out without certain animals. But according to evolution, these plants were getting along great for millions of years without the animals. Aside denounced Kent Hovind's denouncing of science, of evolutionism as not science. He accused Kent Hovind of not knowing cosmology and geology. Yeah, Sai definitely has some integrity problems that came right out in this debate. Kent Hovind does understand evolutionism. We are so flooded. You're really accusing him of extreme stupidity to not understand what we are surrounded by. It's in all of the science textbooks. It's on television shows, even entertainment shows. It's there. You can't misunderstand it. Evolutionism, according to Sai, does not include animals giving birth to different animals. And it's not abiogenesis. And it's not geology. It's important to define terms sometimes in a debate, but he's wrong about that. The people who, and he later admitted being wrong about that, said he won't talk about his expertise. We should talk about what you're an expert at. His definition of religion is why he says evolutionism doesn't have religion is there's no God. That's a stupid thing to say, because religion is more than just if there's a God or not. It's how you see things. It's a belief that's not based on evidence. Sometimes there's overlap. People's religions do have evidence for them. But still, evolutionism does qualify as a religion. He said Reasons to Believe is not an evolutionist group, but Old Earth creationism. They seem pretty evolutionist to me. They believe the entire atheistic, evolutionary, human secularist timeline. Let's see. Goes for yeah. Kent Hovind's next time he responded, he went through the different stages of evolution, which he gets from science textbooks, from science departments at universities and websites run by universities, and asked many questions of Psi. Psi's response was to accuse Kent Hovind of not understanding evolutionism and pointing out that we can do DNA testing that shows that you have a cousin that's related to you. I actually know somebody who recently found a half-sister after more than 60 years of life that she did not realize she had. But that has absolutely nothing to do with macroevolution, with all life coming from one common ancestor. And so Kent Hovind does understand. Psi committed a straw man fallacy there. He accused nobody of using Kent Hovind's definition of science or evolutionism. Yes, they do, or they should. Psi said there are limits because cats will always produce cats. They diverge so slowly that will always produce cats. Well, then you're saying that all life on Earth does not have a common ancestor by saying that. Kent Hovind brought up 1 Corinthians, where Adam brought death to the world. By one man came death. And Psi's interpretation of that verse is that it's just talking about death of people, but animals were dying and eating each other before Adam brought death to the world. He claimed that the Bible does not say God made a perfect world, and Bible as interpreted. Yeah, Psi is a Christian, so he believes the Bible to some degree. So he does believe it as he interpreted it. Okay, Psi made the claim which, wow, I rarely hear this claim, and I think I rarely hear it because there's no truth to it, that young Earth creationism began with the Seventh-day Adventist Ellen G. White in the 1800s. So for thousands of years, people who believed the Bible, the Jews and the Christians, according to him, saw 7 days, 6 days of creation, and the 7-day week, and we're thinking, wow, that didn't really happen in days, that was just, nothing. Alright, so Kent Hovind pointed out 6,000 years is a long time. Kent doesn't like being called a young Earth creationist because 6,000 years is longer than any person has lived. That's a very long time. Although I think Kent shouldn't make such a big deal about that, because compared with billions of years, 6 days or 6,000 years is a short time. Kent Hovind talked about the worldwide flood, and Grand Canyon is probably from the worldwide flood. And Kent Hovind's got some good arguments about that, the way we probably have Grand Canyon, and he says the Central Valley of California too, and maybe he's right about that, is after the worldwide flood of Noah, there was a earth dam there. And once the water breached the top of the dam and it went over, it washed away all of that stuff, the soft rock, to the point where we now have the canyon. We now have the Golden Gate, the Bay Area where the Central Valley's waters run into the ocean. So, Kent Hovind asked if dogs and pineapples are related, and Psi is understanding her opinion. Psi talked, and he admitted Luca, which means, let's see, shoot, I forgot what that stands for. let's see, Luca, last something common ancestor. Luca, last, what's the U? The CA is common ancestor. And, wow, so he admitted that he believes there is a Luca, last unknown, last ultimate common ancestor. The single cell organism that everything's related to. Why did I write good company, majority, Catholic universities? Okay, Psi uses the appeal to majority fallacy a lot. He just wants to make sure he's with the majority of people. So that's why he points out what a majority of people or universities and scientists are believing in. So what? Majority belief is not proof of anything. I hope the majority believes things because it's true, but that's not proof of it. The proof is why. Give me details about why. Okay, alright. Wrote NWCN. I should make more detailed notes. NWCN. 7th day, where it began. I'll try to remember what that is. WCN. Kent Hovind differs about whether it's good. The animals that were being eaten, according to Psi's understanding of history, would call it a good earth that God had made when they were being eaten. Kent Hovind pointed out that when Elijah was versus the 850 prophets of Baal, there was a majority there. The majority was wrong. It's silly to go with the majority opinion on things. And Kent Hovind pointed out, now that we got Psi to finally admit that there is a Luca, last ultimate common ancestor, that the Luca changed to a dog or a pineapple. So things do become, according to that belief of evolutionism, they become something that they were not. The ancestor's different. Psi quoted St. Augustine, but St. Augustine was not an apostle, so St. Augustine carries very little weight with me, and I hope with you. But St. Augustine was worried about Christians feeling relevant or getting along with the science of their day. We're talking about just a few hundred AD. So you've got the same problem there of somebody just wanting to get along and not wanting to stand for truth. The science of the day that Augustine wanted the people to learn was different than the science of today. So if you're going to quote St. Augustine because of that, then, and you're consistent, you should be trying to get Christian churches to teach the science of the ancient Greeks. Psi found it offensive when Kent Hovind quoted Adolf Hitler. Why? I disagree with Psi on that. Adolf Hitler was motivated by the religion of evolutionism. He was trying to help the master race, the most highly evolved human, happen more quickly. Hitler was wrong for that, but there is a definite connection between Hitler and evolutionism that you just can't deny. Let's see. Psi said something about not caring about evolution. You, young Earth creationist, care face, why debate? Oh. Yeah, if Psi say he doesn't care about evolutionism, why get into debates? That doesn't make sense. Kent Hovind, the last notes I have here were Kent Hovind pointed out he does not reject science. He doesn't. The dog from Luca, ultimate common ancestor, isn't science because it has never been witnessed. Nothing comparable has been witnessed, and so it does not qualify for the description of science. Thank you for watching. You have a good day.